Freaky Friday is intended for adults and is a show featuring adult conversations. Topics may vary, but are focused on human sexuality, fetish, and topics of intimate nature. Some may feel uncomfortable watching this show, and some topics may take you out of your comfort zone. We encourage everyone to stay and learn, as we hope this is an educational show, but stress that viewer discretion is advised. And if a topic makes you feel uncomfortable, please do not continue watching. Welcome to Freaky Friday. Welcome to Freaky Friday, where we dare to talk about taboo topics like fetish, bondage, sex, vibrators, and more. This isn't your dad's Friday night programming, but your mom loves it. Welcome to Freaky Friday, hosted by Mr. Anderson, who is the unboxable, uncanny advocating creator known as the Indie Comics Devil, who will tempt you with his devilish tales of fetish, monsters, and more. Also the giver of free hugs and spanks. Everyone watching this program will get virtual free hugs and spanks. It's time to get on with the show. Welcome to Freaky Friday. Music provided by the YouTube Audio Library. Produced by Silent Partner. Song name, Tied Up. Warning and disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this live feed are those of the guests, speakers, and or hosts, and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs, official policies, ethics, or positions of the content providers, advertisers, additional hosts, and or guests, hosting sites, groups, or entities attached to this programming. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about biases. And the bias that we're going to talk about is how we look at a person on how they're dressed. We've talked a little bit about this before, and it's kind of a freaky occurrence if you think about it. How a person dresses from day to day can change how you look at them, even if there's someone close to you. Whether they wear a t-shirt that has a saying on it, like we talked last week about the free hugs and spanks, to even maybe a person who has certain jewelry or even eyewear. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. I can tell you as a man, despite the fact that not wearing a shirt is not in any way illegal, it upsets people if you go without a shirt. As a matter of fact, this year I'd actually gone to a convention. You can see it on the TikTok, Mr. Anderson, where I only wore an apron without a shirt. And it actually kind of intimidated some people. We've talked about this, about body size and how we judge people. And we don't realize that there's a bias about how people look. And I'm not saying that the bias is there inherently on purpose, not at all, but it's in us. And it's taught to us. And there are studies that will tell you that how you dress can even determine your future. And even how we kind of present ourselves and how important that is and how weird that has become. Because even my tattoos, those are choices. It's not really who I am, but it becomes part of who I am. And then I get judged for these tattoos. And I get judged by these tattoos without anyone understanding what any of the tattoos mean to me. They will assign a value to those tattoos and decide what they mean for the person who sees the tattoo. So when we wear a shirt that winds up representing ourselves, it changes things. But even wearing a shirt without sleeves, that now shows something to people psychologically. For me, I have wide shoulders. I have always had wide shoulders. No matter what size I was currently in, my shoulders are always wider than I am. My arm span is actually a 6'2" arm span. They say your arm span is supposed to be as tall as you were. So I probably was supposed to be 6'2" and had surgery when I was younger. But my shoulders had grown in for a bigger persona. As a matter of fact, my feet are actually kind of short for who I am. That's the growth I never had after surgery. Because surgery can stunt growth, by the way, when you're younger. So, dressing a certain way changes how we look at a person. Even things as simple as eyewear, such as glasses. You now change how you look at me. There's been a change, and I haven't done much, but done something that's not a choice. These glasses were never a choice for me. But wearing them, you might think I'm a nerd, depending on how the rest of them are dressed. If this wasn't a free hugs and spanks shirt and a Voltron shirt with sleeves, and I was at a Comic-Con, you just think I was a nerd or a geek. However, if I was in a place like a library studying and I had my sleeves on, you might think that I'm someone just maybe a college student, maybe someone studying, someone who's educated. All because I now have sleeves. I want you to understand this is all a mind trick on you. As a matter of fact, so much so that people dress a certain way to actually influence you. That is correct. There are people out there in the world who actually give dating tips, business tips, all based upon how you should dress. Fashion magazines, keeping up with fashion. It's all kind of absurd if you think about it. Because no matter what I've done in this video right now while I'm doing this in front of you, I've never changed who I was. I'm still the same person I've always been, complicated and beautiful at the same time. Yet, as I change, as I make myself look different, whether you realize it or not, there might be some sort of trigger in your mind. You might have started listening a little more intently. You might have been listening more intently when I had my arms out, or less intently. That also depends on your social upbringing, as it would turn out. As a matter of fact, sometimes the more a person gets dressed up, the more uncomfortable it could actually make someone feel based upon their experiences. And speaking as someone who came up in a family that didn't always have money, I know that money intimidated me growing up. Something as an adult I now struggle with. The fact that I never respected money the way other people did, because it always seemed to be a root of evil. Now, older and a parent myself, I want to raise Jax to not be intimidated by success and wanting to do better. I can tell you this, when I go to any sort of function and I'm dressed with a shirt and a tie, and my neck's a little bigger than most, even the bigness of my arms no longer discounts me. Now, we've talked about this before on the show. Those who watch this and have continued to watch it know that I've said in the past that when I show my arms, people have actually said I look too big to be a comic book writer. But if I'm dressed like this, people will take me more seriously. As a matter of fact, I've had to wear things like this for business. And when I wear things like this for business, people hear me. People actually follow me and they take my commands. And I remember, actually, in fact, that one of the things that I was actually started to actually get spoken to about was the fact that I would come in on my days off or in between shifts. I would instantly, when I was done with what I had to do, off clock, because I was an hourly employee at a point, I was told, or truck nights, I was told the way I dressed was a bit of a distraction. Meanwhile, everyone else would wear tank tops and stuff. But because I was a supervisor or a manager, this was not something I was allowed to do, because showing arms somehow made me less of a leader. Not showing tattoos made me someone you should listen to less. As a matter of fact, one of the things I did coming up, if you ever notice, when I have a shirt on, I'll show you real quick, you cannot see any of my tattoos except on my fingers. And that I can easily hide by having in my pocket or something like that. So if I didn't want anyone to see I had tattoos, it'd be very hard. You're seeing this right now just because my arm is a little swollen. There we go. And it just does it. But for the most part, I can wear a shirt and all the tattoos go away. But I never changed who I was. Matter of fact, I'm still the same person. These things don't make who I am, yet they can be a tool. They can be a tool like as a storyteller that I am, that you can tell a story without even realizing it. And I've known this for a very long time in my life, if I'm being honest. I've known that how I dress, how I look, has an outside value. Whether you like it or not, it's just the truth. You will be judged on what people see versus getting to know who you are. In the end, who we are without clothes is the same person we are with clothes. However, when we don't have clothes as a way to define us, like if we all wore the same outfit and uniforms, it's been shown, and this is why schools now do uniforms, that the individual is seen more than the items are seen. So there's a lot of shallowness with it. If you're going to learn something from today's video, first understand that your appearance is going to matter. Whether you like it or not, you're going to be judged for it. Understanding how you'll be judged is very important. I understand the ripped t-shirts get me a certain reaction. I understand tank tops get me a different reaction. I understand I can dress a certain way and get a different response from experiences in life. I know if I have to go to court, you'll see the tie on. If I have to go to something where it's a financial transaction, I will wear a nice shirt and a tie. Funeral, wedding, all that stuff. If I want to go out and impress and find someone who I want to possibly, let's say, the old cliche, hit on or just meet people, I find that meeting people with more casual, like I showed you, the open button shirt with the t-shirt underneath, even if it says free hugs and spanks, with that shirt over it, for some reason it's more comical, because now people don't necessarily represent you with what was said on your shirt. And I know this from years of wearing shirts with sayings on it. People will ask to see the saying. Well, if it's out there, it's like, bam, it's right in your face. And when you wear a sleeveless shirt, generally I get left alone. For the most part, people don't come up to me. The lack of sleeves intimidates people. This whole video is kind of because of the freaky concept that clothing becomes more of a value point to people than we really are. Because when you see your teacher outside of school and they're dressed a certain way, tell me that you don't suddenly shake your head. When you see a movie star on vacation, you're like, oh, damn, they're out of shape when they're in the waters. You're reading that article too. We lose our humanity a little bit with our clothing. But in the society we live, we have to respect that our clothing has power. Kind of weird, isn't it? That's something freaky that happens every day that I bet until I kind of said this, you never realized how freaky it was. Ponder that. And more importantly, find a way to make it work to your advantage. Because in the end, knowledge is power. So control your freaky and how the freak is getting you. Mr. Anderson is the unboxable advocating creator known as the indie comics devil, who will tempt you with his devilish tales of fetish, monsters, and more. He is the giver of free hugs and spanks, and he is a partner in Continual Comics. Check out everything erSiN at chainlinks.site.